From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. From flooding to heat, how the forecast is shaping up for the heart of the growing season in the U.S.
Maybe a little bit of bad news, but for just about everybody else, there could be some good news in this July forecast.
What's 4th of July without some apple pie? Serving up a delectable destination as we travel the American countryside this weekend with Andrew McCrae. A near-death experience, hanging on for his life.
I said, if things go bad, tell grandkids and kids that I love them and I love you.
Trapped in the grain bin for 6 hours, how this Kentucky farmer survived. An Olympic bound, fueled by milk, how this dairy farmer, who's now a mom, conquered the chase for the Olympics once again.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer. More farmers choose Pioneer brand corn because it delivers game-changing yields. Join a winning team. Pioneer brand corn. Your best year starts here.
Now for the news, more layoffs hitting the broader ag industry. We began with Smithfield Foods announcing it's closing its ham boning facility in Iowa. The decision means 314 employees will lose their jobs in Altoona, Iowa. Smithfield says it's closing the facility and consolidating production at other locations in an effort to improve efficiencies in manufacturing. It says it will provide affected employees with information about opportunities at other Smithfield locations, along with severance packages. Smithfield employs about 4,000 people in Iowa alone. But Iowa has been rocked lately by other layoffs, including at several John Deere plants. The company announcing another 610 jobs will be cut. 280 workers are being laid off from its Harvester Works plant in East Moline, Illinois. 230 employees will be impacted at the Davenport Works plant in Davenport, Iowa, as well as about 100 employees at its factory in Dubuque, Iowa. It also said salaried layoffs in the U.S. are expected to happen by the end of this month. The company saying in a statement that rising operational costs and declining market demand require changes. The company employs 70,000 people worldwide. Staying in the equipment sector, more layoffs for the ag industry, this time involving AGCO. AGCO announcing in a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission that it plans to cut up to 6% of its salaried workforce. The company saying that it is in response to its increased weakening demand in the agriculture industry. The global ag equipment manufacturer also recently confirming reports that Ohio Ag Equipment is ending its distribution agreement with the manufacturer at the end of this year. Ohio Ag Equipment operates 8 stores throughout the central Ohio region. And more farmers may have plans on cutting back on those equipment purchases. According to the just released Ag Economy Barometer, more producers are saying now is a bad time to make large investments. The monthly survey of producer sentiment conducted by Purdue University and the CME Group has an overall reading of 105 points. That's down 3 points from a month ago and down 16 points compared to a year ago. That's a 5-point decline also in the index of future expectations to a reading of 112, which was responsible for that overall decline. As new crop grows, farmers are holding on to a lot more grain than they were a year ago. The quarterly grain stocks report released last Friday shows that there are just under 5 billion bushels of corn in grain stocks, up 22% from this time last year, with a majority of it still stored on the farm. That's more than 3 billion bushels that they say is stored on the farm, up 37% from a year ago. According to John Newton, chief economist to the Senate Ag Committee, that is the highest level since 1988. And look at this map. Corn on farm in Illinois, it is up a whopping 71%. It's also up that much in Kansas. It's up 50% in Missouri, as well as South Dakota. Well, an important Supreme Court decision could have impacts on the EPA, environmental regulations, and other regulations in ag. The High Court last week in a 6-3 ruling overturning the so-called Chevron doctrine, handing rulemaking authority back to Congress and the courts. For 40 years, the Chevron doctrine allowed agencies to interpret vague laws. Experts say this change provides opponents a clear legal path to challenge regulations, potentially forcing agencies like the EPA to be more cautious in drafting rules. For instance, regulations related to farm subsidies, crop insurance, and environmental practices, including the Waters of the U.S. rule, could now face closer judicial scrutiny. Overturning the Chevron doctrine could also give more responsibility to Congress to directly address policy issues with new laws. Some ag groups say the decision restores a balance of power by ensuring that unelected bureaucrats cannot impose regulations beyond what Congress had explicitly authorized. That's it for the news. Well, the catastrophic flooding across parts of Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, they have been devastating. So just how big could the crop losses be? We explore that during weather next.